Alrighty, hello everyone. You've had a fantastic holiday break, whether that meant with family and friends staying cozy at home, buying a new spaceship, or braving the frozen reaches of the Glacium Belt and Nyx. Just kidding, they didn't say anything about buying a spaceship, but you know they were thinking it. We wrapped up the year with Star Citizen 4.5, and it's been great to see how many of you have dove into multi-crew gameplay, running ships as engineers, and sometimes going down with them like true captains. Not gonna lie, I have not been doing anything engineering related. I got to get back into some multi-crew gameplay this week. With everyone back in the studio, our focus turns to Alpha 4.6. Ivacati is out. We are leveraging the insights you shared and the experience you had in 4.5 to continue our drive in the new year. As outlined in the letter from the chairman, we will keep building out the depth and playability of Star Citizen while pushing forward on the core systems that define how you play. From engineering and inventory to Genesis planets, crafting, social tools, dynamic server meshing, and so much more. What the f you mean so much more? The flippancy! They just say social tools and don't think that like our minds explode. What does that mean? Genesis, inventory, crafting, social tools, dynamic server meshing. This is like an actual fever dream of a list of features that I don't know how to receive that. What does that mean for this year? He said, we're also continuing work on modernizing long-running systems, including item recovery, insurance, inventory, and cross-patch persistence. Sorry, there was more. What a freaking list, dude. Oh, that's so much. I hope they can get versions of these things into the game this year. He continued by saying, 2026 is already shaping up to be another great year. We are hard at work to bring crafting to the tech preview servers with Ivacati up next. The response to crafting the preview servers is definitely expected, but nothing definitive on it yet. But with Ivacati up next does mean that they plan to bring in crafting pretty quickly after. I would bet crafting tech preview is no later than February, and if it hits Ivacati after that, then I could see crafting coming in April or May. Would make sense for around that time. The response to your recent feedback survey has been incredible with nearly 34,000 responses and counting. Thank you to everyone who has taken the time to share their thoughts. You can still update your answers, especially after spending more time in Alpha 4.5. We would also like to thank everyone who took part in the Luminalia greeting card contest. The community hub is packed with incredible submissions, so if you have not browsed them yet, be sure to take a look. Looking at the community side, Daymar Rally is kicking off Saturday, January 24th, bringing together pilots and drivers ready to fight for every meter of sand and every second on the clock. Make sure to drop by if you guys want to see the coverage of that. And I will be interviewing the two leaders of this whole thing on the podcast this week. So keep an eye out on Monday for that to come out, to talk about the event, where it comes from, what it's doing, what's up next. Also from Atmo Esports, enter Atmosphere Lands in Sydney on February. Keep that one in mind too if you want to head down there for an event. And we will be covering GII Racing. As you can see, Vastin in chat. We've got several people on the racing team here in chat. GII has, I think, 3 racing teams so far. I gotta figure out where you guys are so I can make sure I'm covering your thing. All right, now let's take a look at this week. On Tuesday, a new monthly bundle appears on the store, formerly known as patch bundles. These bundles are limited time items and cosmetic packs featuring themed color palettes. Starting in 2026, new bundles will be released on the second Tuesday of each month. Mark your calendar for these monthly drops you won't want to miss. So, new forms of sales, formerly known as patch bundles, but probably no longer linked to patches. They're now linked to months because, well, we're not getting as many patches. This is just a continuation of this shift. Cosmetics, paints, decorations, anything that they can put out that doesn't change the gameplay but can make them more money, I'm on board with personally. I think that it's a better way of making money than selling ships, and they have to get bumping on this so they can start to turn over where that money's coming from. That being said, obviously there is such thing as too much and doing things incorrectly. We'll see how they move forward with these sales. CIG is not really known for being the most consumer friendly when it comes to sales. And these patch bundles will probably be fairly expensive. So like, you don't have to get them. Don't feel like you need to. The stuff that's in them probably will be in game at some point for you to pick up on your own. Next day, Wednesday, first roadmap roundup of 2026 arrives with many new cards for 4.6. As with 2025 before it, 26 will bring a number of content delivery changes, including adjustments to how patches are scheduled, which we will discuss in more detail in the coming weeks. They always do. There's always a little bit of planning, and then a new version of their development comes out that kind of plays off the letter from the chairman. Usually, though, this doesn't happen until later, February time. You can go back to Star Citizen, let's say 3.22, Star Citizen 2022, February. So this might have been their first roadmap roundup of the year. Every 2 weeks, we accompanied yada yada. When we remade our Republic. Yeah, so this was their first one. This was a big update. This was like, okay, we spent all of January getting together everything we wanted to do. Here's a big explanation of how the year's going forward, of the new roadmap, of the progress tracker, of all the things that we want to bring in here. It's kind of their chance to be like, this is the year ahead. We've taken some time to figure it out. You can do the same thing with 2023. February 8th. This was like, I don't know if this was the first update of the year in this one or not. Usually they come in February, but let's see if there was one in January. No, there wasn't one in January in 2023, so it must have been this 8th was the first one. And again, a chance for them to explain kind of what the deal is going forward, how things are going to work based on the beginning of the year. Not a lot to update here. 2024, I believe we didn't get it until February either. February 5th roadmap roundup. Again, all kinds of updates to let you know kind of what the plan is going forward and how things are going to work. This was not last year. This is 24. Sorry, I'm stuck in time. Now we can look at last year's 2025. This was like literally the last 4 times they've done this. It's been just about the same thing every single time. This was February 26th. We had to wait until the freaking 26th to get our big first understanding roadmap roundup last year. So we're getting our roadmap roundup a full month ahead of last year, and generally 2 to 3 weeks ahead of every other year before this. I think this is indicative of the fact that they are a little bit better off in their development. They do actually know what things are going on, and they've planned a little bit better last year to transition into this year. So we're seeing a little bit more of a functional update in January. More devs have been back in office answering questions more quickly. And now obviously the updates are coming a little bit earlier. Hopefully this keeps up. I couldn't tell you if it's going to, but I think this is a good sign. Here they're saying, as Star Citizen continues to evolve, we will also be experimenting from time to time with smaller time-limited changes to the verse that do not require a full patch release. The first of these rolls out this Wednesday as Commodity Trade Boost. More ways to keep people intertwined and running in the game. That's cool. I am very excited. This almost sounds like what they wanted dynamic events to be, in a way. The kind of thing where they could just go into a planet and change the profit margins of a planet for some specific reason, and that creates a new rush to players. It could be their way of testing new features and things that they need to get focused testing on without bringing in a new update or introducing a new feature or making a big deal out of it. They also said, due to recent increases in large-scale capital ship combat and their subsequent destruction, 2 vendors in the Stanton system have gained access to increased quantities of highly sought-after resources, including Atlassium. Wait a second, is this the stuff that Wicklow takes? Is this essentially saying that you can get more... What do we use Atlassium for? This is the trade boost thing? Okay. I see. They're just adding some narrative to it. I thought this was another way to get the resources for Wicklow. I was about to be like, holy crap. While they may be selling it with suitable markup, these vendors are also interested in purchasing several other resources above traditional market prices, at least until they have what they need. Okay, dude. A little bit of unorthodox demand, huh? Profit-seeking traders are encouraged to seek out and discover these prosperous vendors in the verse, but beware that quantities are limited and others may be seeking these fortunes in less than friendly ways. Bro, let's mix it up. I'm excited to see something new happening. I'll have to see how they actually implement it and give my thoughts on that. but like, I'm gonna give them props for trying to experiment a little bit. I think still the goal is to perhaps stress test some of the stuff they're doing, but ultimately keep people playing and interested. And it's good timing. If they're dropping this on Wednesday, they're probably going to drop their In Case You Missed It sale next week. So they'll get a good boost of activity and eyes on the game, as 4.6 probably goes to PTU. As this trade boost thing happens, night vision's going on. People will be more tied in January than they normally are this year. That In Case You Missed It sale is going to pop off, I bet. Before we get there, just for posterity, let's look at how they're doing in terms of earnings this month. So they're somewhat behind the normal January. It looks like they're about 12% behind their normal. No, for the month, they're about 12% behind. So we'll see what they do. I do think that if they land these releases and then launch that sale, they'll probably be doing that great. Either way, there's your This Week in Star Citizen. We will be back together for the roadmap roundup later this week. It should be an interesting one, and I will try to keep you updated on these trade boost things that are going on, and the Atmo Esports Daymar Rally. I got you covered.